So the question I want to bring up is it black power?
It's time we stand up and take over. Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed. We want black power.
Or economics?
I can car that's some dry with no park options. Make a pussy merch shop. In the poor 6 and big red, you still park drop. Boys enough time to drop. Bro, you ain't got your gun? Bro, hey. Bro, that's a setup, bro. Huh? That's a setup, bro. That's a setup, bro. I just got robbed, bro.
Is the reality black power or is the reality economics? Does economics trump black power or black unity or being black or something like that? Okay, so let's take the origin of how we came about our blackness as African Americans. We came about it because the slave owner told us. Slave owner told us and showed us that you a nigga, you over here, I'm white, I'm over here. I got this plus shit, you got the dirt shit.
Slave owner, whole lot of wills. I don't like niggas, I might get them killed.
That formed the identity of, oh, we don't supposed to be mingling with them. They won't even let us mingle with them. So black power exists. But the real reason of why the slave owner said that is to establish dominance with their human capital, their human chattel. And when you're dealing with cows and stuff, you got to train them. When you're dealing with dogs, you got to train them. With all your domesticated animals that you want to turn a profit from, you got to train them so you can maximize your profits. So that's what happens with us.
This video, as you may see, one of my last videos, I did a book haul that I got like 4 books from. One of them was the Willie Lynch letter, right? Who Willie Lynch is, right? 2 people came up. You got the Willie Lynch that actually did the speech in 1712.
In this video, I'll answer the question, who is Willie Lynch? William Willie Lynch was purportedly a white slave owner in the West Indies who was summoned to Virginia in 1712 due to slave revolts in the area. Because of his reputation as an authoritarian and strict slave master, he was perceived as the person best suited to help quash the uprisings. Legend has it that Lynch stood on the banks of the James River in Virginia and delivered a speech to fellow slave owners in which he gave advice on how they can solve their slave problems. The secret to controlling black slaves was to set them against one another, taking advantage of their differences to promote conflict among them. This method, he said, would ensure that the slaves would be controlled for at least 300 more years. I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves, and I take these differences and make them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. These methods have worked on my modest plantation in the West Indies, and it will work throughout the South. Lynch went on to say that he exploited the age and color of slaves, using these attributes to sow discord among them. To outline this method, he said, "Don't forget, you must pitch the old black male versus the young black male, and the young black male against the old black male. You must use the dark-skinned slaves versus the light-skinned slaves, and the light-skinned slaves versus the dark-skinned slaves. You must use the female versus the male, and the male versus the female. You must also have white servants and overseers who distrust all blacks. But it is necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. They must love, respect, and trust only us." The full text of this speech was first published sometime in 1970.
Then you have a whole nother Willie Lynch who is supposedly the originator of the word lynching, but so was another man named Charles Lynch. That's a whole nother story. In my research, I've found out that he is potentially a hoax. It's like no Willie Lynch. It's not even a person. The speech was done in 1712. Why was this not published earlier? It says, "Let's make a slave." It says, "is a study of the scientific process of man breaking and slave making. It describes the rationale and results of the Anglo-Saxons' ideas and methods of ensuring the master-slave relationship." So
the Webster definition of racism means feeling that one's race is superior. And I don't see a problem with that. Now when you want to engage in superiority, then the fight happens. And then it's like, well, why back down from a fight? Even if the opponent is tougher, why back down from the fight? Now, I could bring up scientific proof that Africans are clearly superior over whites, but you also have the story of the tortoise versus the hare. The hare is clearly faster than the tortoise. That's why they picked the tortoise, to show you how slow the tortoise is, and they picked the hare to show you how fast the hare is. So no matter who's superiorly faster, that don't mean you lost. That don't mean you can't win. We are the hare. Black people are definitely the hare. Too arrogant to realize that we have the power in this situation. You know what I'm saying? The powers. And of course they're the tortoise. Slow and steady wins the race. You know what I'm saying? We're going to catch them slipping. And obviously they did when they turned cannons into hand cannons, a.k.a. guns. Once the guns was established, oh, yeah, we could pick your army off. We could pick the majority of your army off from and not get scathed. A brilliant point in the art of war. But the whole business of slavery was for economics. There's a whole new land that a lot has to be done in order to live there in the next 3 months. Like in 3 months, you got to get your house in order. You have to clear the landscape. You have to start growing your crops. You have to start domesticating animals, or you're gonna starve. Back then, or you're gonna starve. Wasn't no routes. You know what I mean? Wasn't no I'm gonna move here and go to the grocery store there. It was an unfertilized world with people already there. So that was a huge job for the English colonial empire, for the settlers. It was a big job they had to perform. So they needed the 1,000-year-old system of slavery. Slavery wasn't even not part of the plan. I mean, they had slaves from their own country called indentured servants. Where you had to work. And everybody's job was crucial, because if someone messed up from their job, someone's not eating. They all not eating. So it was, but the basis of it was economic, because, the fact that you have workers building a big old house, you can't just do that out here. You got to have permits and contracts. You got to have a construction loan. You got to, you got to buy the land. A lot goes into it. You got to overestimate the cost of it, just in case something goes wrong, something slows down, someone gets hurt. It's a big project. But back then, if you had some slaves and some capital, you get busy. It's a blueprint. You get busy. This land, boom. Let me get it. Well, let me talk to the governor. Oh, the governor, he boom, let me bribe his pockets, because even back then, you had to bribe his pockets. Like today. Oh, okay, boom, it's on. So the introduction of slavery was about economics. It was about economics for the Africans who enslaved us. It's about economics for the people that bought the slaves. It was about economics. They created racism as a part of conditioning, and this is called conditioning the chattel, and training the chattel. And you got to train all chattel, whether it's cows, whether it's horses, whether it's chickens. You got to train them. So the cold part about it is we're still trained. We're still looking at it as or some of us, the majority of us, is still looking at it as race, which we've been trained, and not economics. So we'll talk about the white man and how evil the white man is, but soon as grandmama died, we're going to sell the house. And we're going to sell the house probably to whoever got the money. And sometimes whoever got the money is not from this country. And then we want to talk about, oh, our neighborhood's been taken over. This happened in LA. This happened in Los Angeles, where because of the crack epidemic, you can blame the CIA all you want. You know what I'm saying? But the CIA wasn't the one smoking it and selling their houses and selling it to immigrants. So, and you can't blame the immigrants. They was doing their job to the T. They was going to another country that's miles away. That's not even, you know, they didn't have to travel through the Atlantic Ocean or nothing. They could just go across the border, find work, get citizenship, save all their money, and you know, and buy a house. You know, you investing in your neighborhood. You're investing in your community by buying a house. And Lord and behold, fast forward to the future, we see that. So now, is it about black unity or is it about economics? Because we see time and time again, once black people get economics, they move out of their neighborhood. They don't even invest in their neighborhood. You know, they leave their neighborhood. You know, and then we thought, I don't know what we was thinking. What were we thinking? That people was never going to move into the ghetto? That the police is not going to have all these, I mean, the politicians are not going to bring up all these crime bills? That the police is not going to enforce it? What was we thinking? That if this is our stuff because we say it is? What was we thinking? Then when gentrification happens, we call it racist. And it's like, okay, whoever buys that apartment building, their whole entire race is not going to benefit from that. They got enemies, real enemies from their race that they're playing chess with. They're not playing, you know, not only with you, you're just a pawn in the game. They're playing chess. So to them, it's not about race either. It's about their family. And I think the Italian mafia, they spelled it out a lot, very clearly. And the different families going to war, and different families coming together and squashing the war and stuff like that, because they was hustling for their family. You know, they wasn't hustling for their race. They wasn't hustling for all Italians. Now, if they get richer, then yeah, they're gonna spend with their peoples if their peoples got the institutions necessary. If not, they're going somewhere else. They was hustling. They wasn't hustling for their race. They was hustling for their family. You know, so even with whites, because 2% of the population during slavery, 2% of the population was slave owners. The rest of the whites and blacks was poor. And they had to work for the slave owner, or you know, or work for free for the slave owner. You know, and it's not like you can't apply today's laws with yesterday's laws. You can't say, oh, well, the slaves should have got minimum wage at $15 an hour. $15 an hour is something different, way different than $15 an hour today. $15 an hour today ain't shit. $15 an hour back then, you're damn near a lawyer. You're damn near a doctor. $15, they like, damn, 15? All 15? I got 2 pennies. Nope. 2 pennies would have took you a long way. So, is it black power or is it economics? Because we see the black conscious community, some people in the black, not everybody, but some people in the black conscious community, they would use black consciousness to get donations and try to live it up.
If you ain't got this, if you a black parent and you ain't got this book, if you a black parent and you ain't got this book, if you a black parent and you ain't got this book, if you a black parent and you ain't got this book, you in trouble.
Will heal. And if you steal from
realize, or how do you figure out who's telling the truth and who's not? Because I know we both been in the industry before where people say they do something, then you look in the history like, you ain't really do nothing. So how do you, we actually had somebody on the show before. We have a special guest and somebody that's going to teach us about buying and owning homes.
That's right. Envy, you know all about this.
Yes.
Right?
I heard.
My friend Jay Morrison is here. He's also my
But they didn't know what they were talking about. Had no clue, no idea. They even called my partner and asked him to borrow some of his homes to act like they his.
That's what we doing. Get them donations and let's get this school up for our sons. Let's get this school ready for next fall. 2021. August the 21st of 2021. You said I've been working on the school too long? Well, you ain't been working on shit. But get on that Cash App, brothers and sisters. $ FDMG School. Get on your PayPal. PayPal.me/FDMG Academy.
Under promise what they said they would. You know, or not deliver what they promised. And then, as soon as they get up, you hear the average black person, as soon as they get up, they calling everybody dusties. As soon as black people get money, we leave the community, we don't invest in the community, we don't invest in each other. It's hard for them to invest in their families. There's so many different family members coming out saying, oh, you know, he don't give us no money, or he, you know, this and that, or, you know, oh, he's not giving us no more money. You know, so it's even hard for our own family. So slavery was about economics, and the reason why we was taught racism was a part of training the chattel to produce more cotton or whatever, you know, tobacco and cotton, you know, so you can maximize profits. Go back again to economics. So my advice is to get a micro economics, which is your job, your car, your house, your investments, and your future or current business. That's getting you monthly income. Versus, and then there's a macro economics. You know, like the 2008 housing bubble with the subprime mortgages, or the coronavirus, you know, or a recession, or the Great Recession, they call it, or the Depression. Those are the macro economics. So you got to be versed on both. And the one you control the most is your micro economics. Make sure your monthly income is coming in. Make sure you have more income than expenses. Make sure you have more assets than liabilities. If you get your microeconomics together, then you could gauge the macroeconomics a little better. You want to be successful. You want to grow as a person. You want to get better every day. You want to give all you have. You want to give 100%, because that's all you can control. You can't control black people, betraying the cause, like Wild Bill, like, you know, like the infiltrators and the Black Panthers, like the Muslims that killed Malcolm X. You can't control none of this. You know what I'm saying? You can't control other black people, and 9 times out of 10, they're gonna do the crime for you, right? The statistics of crime shows that people in the certain vicinity is gonna do the most amount of crime towards you. So that's the, you know, that's the story y'all give about the Black Lives Matter and stuff like that. You know, that's the narrative y'all give about, hey, we should focus on police brutality rather than black on black crime, because crime in the vicinity, white people mostly kill white people, and you know, and that's silly, because now you want to be equal. Now that's happened with every race. Okay, then so is police brutality. So what's the thing? The real issue is 50 years ago, where it was not Black Lives Matter, because Black Lives Matter always around in different forms. The Deacons of Defense, the Black Panthers, you know what I'm saying? And they demolished it. And then blink an eye. The media didn't blink an eye. The police didn't blink an eye. The politicians didn't blink an eye. Now that they got black people, now that we're singing about black people killing each other, and we are killing each other, and we're doing more harm to ourselves than any form of white supremacy can. White supremacy obviously brainwashed us to do it, but we took the ball and ran. You know what I'm saying? They handed the ball to us, but we were running with it. So we didn't stop to think like, hey, I'm running the wrong way. We didn't stop to think that. We're not stopping to think, hey, they gave us the ball, we running, but are we running the right way? And we're not. We're running full speed towards the wrong way, which is crippling the black community inside, once again, because they stay crippling us. First it was, you know, before it was black on black crime that as prevalent as it is. And let me give you a little statistic. You know, the police kills about 1,000 people. In 2019, police killed 1,000 people. Yeah, and 42% was black. No, it wasn't 42%. Sorry, it was about 19% was black. So it wasn't fully those 1,000. Last year, 2019, we killed over 10,000. It was 11,000 black on black crime, and we want to focus on the 700 blacks. We don't want to focus on the 11,000. We want to focus on the 700. That was 11,000 are Pookies, Ray Rays. They lost causes anyway. We shouldn't even care about them, right? Right. So what kind of black power is that? And they didn't create the ghettos. They didn't create the guns. They didn't create the drugs. They didn't ship the drugs over here. They didn't call Colombia and say, hey, we need some more drugs. What's going on? They didn't say nothing like that. They was born into a system they was born into their projects. Their parents didn't care about education, so they're not gonna care about education. So if you're not gonna care about education, you gotta care about your fists. So they focus on their fists and then the guns, and they had to do what they had to do and stuff, and no one cares. No one cares. People think because I got bullied by them, then that's what they get. You know what I'm saying? Nobody cares about them. You know what I'm saying? But they know something that these conscious people don't know, that probably you don't know, that it's not about race. It is about economics. Because they know no matter how much you scream black power, you're not going to O Block to help them out. You're not going to Cabrini Greens. It's not no more. There ain't no more Cabrini Greens projects and help them out. Jay-Z's not going to Marcy projects and helping them out. Is J-Rock going to Nicholson Gardens and helping them out? No. Because it's about economics. It's about getting your economics. As soon as they get money, I did this. So as soon as you lose all your money, it was everybody else but me. Isn't that how responsibility goes and accountability? When you win, you're 100% accountable. When you lose, you're 0% accountable. Now, if you want to debate me on that, that's not about, I think it's about both. Well, you got to understand, where did you get that racism? And I think that every race should be, looking at the definition of the Webster Dictionary, it says a race that feel that they're more superior. I don't expect Chinese people to say, you're vastly superior. We're going to give all our wealth to the black race. We don't care about our race. I don't want them to do that. I don't believe they should. I think they should take care of their families. I think they should go hard in the yard. And let's say the Chinese is going hard and the Koreans is going soft. That's going to motivate a lot of Koreans to go hard in the yard. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we want. We want a race, a human race, to go hard in the paint. We want a human race. We get inspired by stories like that. You know what I'm saying? And that's what the Webster Dictionary says. Racism, putting your race first. What is wrong with that? Now, in a country where we're only 12% and whites are 64%, we don't even have the numbers for them to cater to us. Why are we expecting them to cater to us? We should be like, we're only 12%. I need to get busy. Now, black people need to get busy. I need to get busy. I'm only 12%, and I'm stigma as the worst American ever. Oh, I need to get super busy. I need to lose 50 pounds. I need to gain 100 million. You know what I'm saying? I need real estate. I need stocks. I need businesses. I need franchises. You know what I'm saying? Let's get it done. You ain't gonna give me? Okay. Are you? No. Are you? No. Banks. Are you gonna give me a business loan? You? No. Okay. You? No. Okay. You? Banks. You ain't gonna give me a business loan? Why? Oh, because you credit. Because you don't even show a history of making any money. Because it's goddamn. We're not gambling here. We want for show shots. Oh, I'm bullshitting. Okay, I get this. Let me get it together and let me get back with you. Because 9 times out of 10, you are holding you back. Now, you are your worst enemy. Not white supremacy, not O Block. You are your worst enemy. And you're your greatest asset. You're your greatest superhero. You're your worst supervillain. And you're your greatest superhero. So I need you to align with your superhero and double team your supervillain inside of you. Deuces.